Leicester City is already in the middle of a new soap opera, and this time, the plot revolves around the name that could lead the team next season. One name surprises, another divides opinions, and there's even a coach who let slip a phrase that could change the entire course of history. But will the board of directors bet on a more modern style, or will they opt for experience and firmness in command? The backstage is buzzing, and the scenario is more uncertain than ever. Stay with me until the end, because what's going on behind the scenes could take a lot of people by surprise. And hey, before we dive into this story, like it, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Here's hot news and real opinion for those who are Fox fans at heart. Danny Röhl, current Sheffield Wednesday coach, is the one with the highest odds at the bookmakers to take over from Ruud van Nistelrooy if the Dutchman really says goodbye. But wait a minute. Despite all this favoritism, Röhl himself has already made it clear that his heart may be beating stronger for the Bundesliga over there in Germany. Röhl spent the whole summer being approached by English and German clubs, and yes, Leicester is among those interested. When asked about the Fox's interest, he replied that he sees it as validation of the work he has been doing at the Owls. So far, great. But when the conversation turned to returning to Germany, he was blunt. If it were up to me, as soon as possible. So, fans, that question remains. Would he really come to the King Power Stadium? Meanwhile, Ruud van Nistelrooy remains in charge, but the situation is delicate. The relegation left deep scars, and the silence between him and the board in the last 6 weeks of the season only reinforces the feeling of the end of a cycle. If there is a change, it is maturing behind the scenes. And if it is not Röhl, who else could appear at Leicester? The experienced Sean Dyche is the second favorite, with good odds according to the bookmakers. City have shown interest in the past, but there is a catch. Will his more direct style fit into the new project that the club wants to build? Michael Carrick, who was recently fired from Middlesbrough, is running on the outside. His name has lost some strength, but he is still on the radar. And be careful, Liam Rosenior is also in the mix, but with a recently signed contract at Strasbourg, which would make his signing much more complicated and expensive. Rounding out the top 5 is Gary O'Neill, who had a short and turbulent stint at Wolves. It may seem unlikely, but in football, everything changes in a matter of days. So, fans, who would you like to see in charge of Leicester? A young coach full of ideas like Röhl, an old acquaintance like Dyche, or a bold gamble like Carrick? Comment below, because this decision could define the next few years for our club.